Welcome to the short story notes. Now that you have this in Notability, you'll be able to write on your slides. First, just a review. We have gone over 3 different stories. The Aged Mother, we talked about in class. The teacher guided you through this lesson and taught many skills. The Scholarship Jacket was another story that we talked about frequently in class. There was a quiz on Friday, and this was a level 1 performance grade. This Friday, we have a level 2 summative assessment coming up. You can click on these different titles so that you can access the actual stories if you want to look back at them. If you're wanting more practice, there are 6 extra stories that you can look at, and they're right down here. If you're still wanting additional practice, use these stories. You can also go back to the Aged Mother, the Scholarship Jacket, and you can ask any question. A teacher would be happy to help you. The Library Tutoring Hub is open every day. It's open from 7:30 to 8 o'clock in the morning and from 3:35 to 4:05 in the afternoon. Any LA teacher can help you with questions that you might have, and definitely bring these notes so that you can talk this over with them. The first step for today is to be going through some vocabulary related to stories. I'm not just needing definitions for this, but I'm needing understanding. So keep in mind, what does a reader need to know about each of the following? Why is it important? So each one of these vocabulary terms has a question after it to help guide your thinking. We'll do a couple together, and then you'll be able to work independently at your tables. Or you can talk with the people at your tables. So first, characters. In order to know why a character does something, what does a reader need to know about the protagonist or the main character? Whenever we're hearing about a story and the main character, we definitely need to know a description of the character. That helps us to picture the character in our mind. It's also very helpful to have some background knowledge about relationships that the character may have. Seeing the different relationships and the different actions a character takes shows us what a character values and what his or her opinions are in different matters. Now think back to the character map that we've been doing with our writing. If we take that with our reading skills, our character map was really important to point out the character's thoughts, feelings, and actions. So it is definitely important that these pieces are included in a story so that the readers understand where the main character is coming from. Next is setting. In order to have a problem in a story, why does it sometimes matter where the character is located? The location of the story and where it takes place and when it takes place greatly impacts the type of conflict that's going to be present. There are different expectations based on location. For example, in Mr. Entwistle, it was important that we knew the characters and the setting was taking place in school. When Mr. Entwistle, the substitute, was getting mad at the students for not paying attention, we could relate to being in that situation, we could relate to being in that location, because we've all been in a school setting with a substitute. It wouldn't make sense for somebody to be yelling at somebody else if they were just out at the mall. Of course they're not paying attention if they don't know each other. Another example is the way that a character reacts to a parent. The way they may react at home is possibly going to be different than the way they react out in public. So where things are taking place can impact what our view is on the character. So there is a difference between locations. Point of view. It does matter who's telling the story. It does make a difference about the information that we know as a reader. So what information is different for different points of view? Think about first-person point of view. First-person point of view is when we are the main character. We know everything that's going on inside their head, and we are seeing the story as if we were the main character. So this helps us to know those thoughts, those feelings, and really play along as if we were the main character. When you look at third-person point of view has multiple people, and we are seeing things inside both of their heads or multiple people's minds. We can be seeing the story from different people's points of view or just an outsider watching all of the events. So we definitely learn more in this first-person point of view than we would in a third-person point of view. Continuing on, we are looking at plot. So all of the parts of plot are included on this. They're all listed here. Think about each part in the story for the plot. What is important? What is it that we need to be hearing about? What is it that we need to be learning as a reader for any general story? You and your table can talk about each of these 6 parts and add notes there. Conflict does have the 4 different types. It's not that you're going to have to identify the type of conflict in your test on Friday, but it will help you to know these types of conflict when looking at the types of problems that are going to occur. If you figure out the type of conflicts that exist, you'll know better what to look for when looking for the problems in your story. Author's purpose. This is what we talked about yesterday. So based on the text, the reader learns new information. Why does the author add this information into a story? We talked yesterday about how this lets us know why information is included. We looked at a chart and we found text evidence. Once you know the text evidence, that helps us to know what is happening. That is just the comprehension part of our reading. Author's purpose goes another step, and it's figuring out the why. Why did our author include this? Why do we need to know this information as a reader? Why would something be pointed out in a particular way? Any questions, comments, or concerns? I know that I'm not going to be with you here at school, so I did want you to have a place to be putting down any questions, comments, or concerns. If you and your table are working and nobody knows the answer, go ahead and just write down the information here. That'll help for the next couple days since I won't see you until Friday. Also, if you're wanting more help, you can email me. I'm happy to respond to your emails, but I will be working, so it might take me a little bit of time. My email address is jportier@coppellisd.com. If you want to attend the Tutoring Hub, as mentioned earlier, that's in the library. It's before and after school. You can work with any LA teacher. They're all happy to help you and can look over these notes to help prepare you also. Another strategy is actually talking to your parents. They've been through school and they have lots of experience with studying. So have them sit down with you and read over a story. See if you can find the different story vocabulary terms. Can you locate these things in one of the stories that we've already looked at? You can even do that with An Hour with Abuelo. There will be some question stems coming up in future slides, but that's really for our class on Wednesday. Should you and your table get through with all of the notes and writing information down, there are different pieces that you can look at for additional practice. There's this chart plot theme. There's a link here. You can look at the connection between character, events, and themes. If you are still wanting more practice with author's purpose, we do have the chart that we used yesterday. So I did tell you to put that underneath the scholarship jacket in Notability. There's also a brand new one made here about Mr. Entwistle, so you can click on this and just open up that PDF. If you're going through the plot and you're still concerned about sequencing events, Miss Wilson, she's in B202. She does have sentence strips so that you can start sorting through the events. She has that available. She said she was going to cut them up tonight, so if someone needs to go over to her room and ask for those, you may borrow them, but just return them at the end of the period. And lastly, looking at details, the questions that we put in Notability underneath the scholarship jacket is still there. I think it was the 4th page on our PDF, so you can look at those questions. I tried to keep them pretty general so that you could use them with a scholarship jacket, and you can also use them in the next couple days when preparing for your test and reading an hour with Abuelo. I hope this helps you out. I look forward to seeing the work and progress you make and you guys gaining your understanding and helping each other out. Have a great rest of the class period.